Hey guys, and welcome to this video here. It is that time of the year again. It is time for predictions to NXT Takeover. This time, it's the WrestleMania Week Takeover event. It is NXT Takeover New York, where we will see the crowning of a new NXT champion, an incredible fatal four-way match for the Women's Championship, tag team titles on the line featuring four of the best in NXT, and an incredible experience featuring the North American Championship. Who do I think is going to win? Find out right now. Now, the first prediction I want to give for the NXT TakeOver card is going to be Velveteen Dream defending the NXT North American Championship against Matt Riddle. This matchup was originally apparently supposed to be Velveteen Dream versus Matt Riddle versus Adam Cole for the North American Championship, but obviously, as you'll hear later, this has been changed to a one-on-one match between these two, and they've done pretty good to set it up on NXT TV. They had Matt Riddle confronting Velveteen Dream about the North American Championship. They had the scene where Velveteen Dream was carted out on a couch to watch Matt Riddle, and then Matt Riddle stole Velveteen Dream's chalice and drank it and kind of spilt some on himself. So yeah, this is gonna be freaking awesome. It's gonna be Velveteen Dream's first title defense on a takeover event since winning the North American Championship from Johnny Gargano. Matt Riddle, this is going to be his first big takeover match. Obviously, he had his matches with Cassius Ohno, but not to be mean to Cassius Ohno, but this match is going to be a little bit more substance for Matt Riddle, and I definitely think this is going to be an awesome matchup. I don't know if it's going to be the opening matchup. I'd love it to be. I feel like any of these matches could be the opening match, and they would still be just as great as any of the other ones. But in terms of predicting who is going to win this, I would definitely say Velveteen Dream has to win this because he just won the North American Championship from Johnny Gargano. It's basically been Velveteen Dream's whole character arc that he has to win a championship and be the main attraction of TakeOver, and for him to just immediately lose the championship to Matt Riddle here would definitely make no sense. Matt Riddle, I definitely think is going to come very, very close, but in the end, my final prediction is that in New York, we will all experience a Velveteen Dream title retention. Up next, we have the NXT Tag Team titles on the line as the War Raiders defend the NXT Tag Team titles against the winners of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, Aleister Black and Ricochet, main roster superstars, main roster tag team as well. And this is actually a pretty interesting match, not in terms of who's going to win, as you'll hear in a second, but in terms of the style and the quality of this matchup, because you have an awesome tag team like the War Raiders, and you also have these awesome single stars of Aleister Black and Ricochet, who have really gelled as a tag team as of late. They've been combining their moves together. I've seen them at my first NXT show, which if you guys didn't watch that, I'll link it at the end of this video in the end screen. But I did get to see them compete against the Forgotten Sons, and they definitely gelled very well as a tag team. They're very good. In terms of who's going to win, it's kind of obvious it's going to be the War Raiders because Ricochet and Aleister Black are going to be on either Raw or SmackDown after WrestleMania. They've been saying over and over and over again that they're going to be leaving NXT. And, it would be kind of weird for the War Raiders, this very dominant tag team, to lose the tag titles almost immediately after winning them from Undisputed Era, and also it'd be weird for a tag team like the War Raiders to just lose to two single stars like Aleister Black and Ricochet. In terms of who's going to take the fall between Aleister Black and Ricochet, some people would say, oh, it's got to be Ricochet. Aleister Black was a former NXT champion. You can't be pinning a former NXT champion. Ricochet was the North American champion. He can be beaten. It's no problem. But I would definitely see Aleister Black taking the pinfall here. Why? Because there was that whole conference call with Triple H where he said guys like Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, and Aleister Black were the locker room leaders. And if you're a locker room leader, the one thing that you want to do before leaving the locker room is to give somebody a lot of momentum. And for the War Raiders to say that they pinned and beat a former NXT champion, that would be huge. So in terms of who's taking the pinfall between Aleister Black and Ricochet, Personally, I feel like it could go either way, but in New York, I definitely think the War Raiders will retain the NXT Tag Team titles, and after that, who knows who's going to challenge next for those titles, but I'm very excited. I'm excited to see what happens for Aleister Black and Ricochet on the main roster of Raw and SmackDown. But yeah, I feel like the War Raiders are going to come out with the win here, and in terms of who's taking the pinfall between Aleister Black and Ricochet, it could go either way. So next up we have the NXT Women's Championship being defended in a fatal 4-way matchup. Shayna Baszler, the champion, will be defending against Io Shirai, Kairi Sane, and the EST of NXT, Bianca Belair. This is going to be a very interesting matchup, which may have major implications. I'm filming these predictions before the final episode of NXT, before the TakeOver event, and there was something interesting that came out of some concept art, or not concept art, some official art from WWE for NXT TakeOver New York. It was like a poster which one side featured Johnny Gargano and Adam Cole, who are going to be in the main event, and then on the other side it featured some of the women for the Women's Championship matchup. But some people noticed that, like, in the foreground, that amongst like the buildings representing New York, there were like some ladders, which many people suspected would mean that the Women's Championship matchup will feature a ladder stipulation, which would be very interesting. And also, if this means Shayna Baszler is losing the NXT Women's Championship, it could be a whole story of like circling around, like if Shayna loses the championship, she didn't get pinned, or she never tapped out to lose the championship, she just never pulled it off and won the championship there. So I definitely think that would be very cool. So yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with that stipulation. I'd have to wait and see what happens on this next episode of NXT that's going to be coming out tomorrow. So yeah, I guess as of right now, it's just a regular Fatal 4-Way matchup, so I'll give separate quick predictions if it's a ladder match, but in terms of the Fatal 4-Way matchup, it's kind of interesting because I do feel like this is Shayna's final like takeover event with NXT. I mean, she's been a part of NXT for, I think, a year and a half now, maybe more, maybe less, I don't know, but I feel like she may be going to either Raw or SmackDown after WrestleMania, so she needs to drop the championship here. The real question is, out of the three, Io Shirai, Kairi Sane, or Bianca Belair, who deserves to be the Women's Champion of NXT next the most? Kairi Sane has already been the NXT Women's Champion. Io Shirai did pin Shayna Baszler, and Bianca Belair already had a singles match for the championship. Pretty much won it, except there was that ref bump. I don't know, it's kind of hard. That's what's more difficult in these like multi-person matches, is that like it's harder to tell who's going to win. But in terms of the Fatal 4-Way, like, Io Shirai and Kairi Sane, they're like a tag team in NXT. They are contenders for Bayley and Sasha Banks' Women's Tag Team Championships. So I can't see either of them winning it. So I'd have to give it, if anyone's winning the championship from Shayna Baszler, it has to be Bianca Belair. And that goes the same way if it's a ladder match. I would definitely think Bianca Belair would win it if it's a ladder match as well. But if it's a ladder match, obviously we're going to get like a cool moment of like Io Shirai and Kairi Sane either doing the insane elbow or the moonsault off the top of the ladder. That's going to be pretty awesome. It'd be cool to see, like, if it's a ladder match, a moment where Shayna Baszler has like the clutch in choking somebody out while they're like dangling off a ladder. I feel like that would be a really cool moment. But yeah, either way, Fatal 4-Way, regular Fatal 4-Way, or ladder match Fatal 4-Way, I say the EST of NXT, Bianca Belair, is coming out as NXT Women's Champion on one condition. That is, if on the next setting, if the next set of tapings for NXT, Bianca Belair lays out an open challenge for the Women's Championship, Mia Yim comes out, answers the open challenge, immediately wins the Women's Championship. That will make it an even better prediction. But yeah, in terms of TakeOver New York, I say Bianca Belair walks out the new Women's Champion. Next up, we have the NXT UK Championship being defended. Pete Dunne defends his UK Championship against Walter, however you want to pronounce it. I haven't really watched that much NXT UK. I've been keeping up to it I've been keeping up with it by watching the Going in Raw Pro Wrestling podcast, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to, at youtube.com/Steven Larson. So yeah, they've kind of been keeping me up to speed on what's happening on NXT UK. But I've never really seen a lot of what Walter can do, so I'm going to be very excited to see him at this TakeOver event. Pete Dunn, he's held that championship for a long time. I think it's over 2 years now. So if there was any time for him to drop the championship, it would be now. And then he can go over to NXT UK or NXT proper, or he can go to Raw or SmackDown, or good God, please not 205 Live. But yeah, in terms of who's walking out of New York as the NXT UK champion, I would definitely have to give it to Walter. He's the new guy. Pete Dunne's held the championship for a long time. It's about time he moved on to something else. And it'll definitely give us a more interesting prospect for the UK scene on NXT UK. You got the big mountain of a man, Walter. Everybody's stepping up to see who can beat Walter. I think that could be a pretty cool story, and I'm excited to see what else Pete Dunne can do on like either NXT proper, Raw, SmackDown, or 205 Live. But yeah, I feel like Walter is walking out with the UK Championship. And finally, we have your main event of the evening, a 2 out of 3 falls matchup to determine the new NXT champion. It will be Johnny Gargano versus Adam Cole baby for the vacant NXT championship. A match that I have no doubt is going to be awesome, but thinking back, it really does feel like we were kind of cheated out of an incredible blow-off. Obviously, this was supposed to be the blow-off for the feud between Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, but due to Ciampa having to vacate the championship due to injury, we got a fatal 5-way number 1 contenders match on NXT TV where Adam Cole won, and now we have Adam Cole versus Johnny Gargano in a 2 out of 3 falls scenario. Adam Cole versus Johnny Gargano, I got to see at my first NXT show, which you guys will be able to watch here at the very end. I'll link it at the end screen so you guys can watch it. That was a great freaking match. And that was the first time Johnny Gargano and Adam Cole had ever competed in an NXT ring. So it's going to be very cool to see, and that was just a 1-fall matchup. It's going to be cool to see them compete in a 2 out of 3 falls matchup, meaning that we could see them compete for a long time. And I think this is the first time we've ever had the NXT TakeOver events have a 2 out of 3 fall stipulation on them. Or no, wait, we had Shayna Baszler versus Kairi Sane at War Games too. Never mind. But it's going to be the first time we ever saw it for the men's NXT Championship. Haha, loopholes. Yeah, I think this is going to be pretty awesome. Adam Cole kind of implied that the Undisputed Era could get involved. I don't know if I would see them going that route. Who knows? Depending on if Gargano gets the first fall, maybe Adam... No, wait, that doesn't work. If Gargano gets the first fall... I was going to say Gargano gets the first fall, Adam Cole has Undisputed Era come in and beat up Johnny Gargano. Okay. Johnny Gargano gets the first fall by Adam Cole having Undisputed Era run in, beat him up, do all that. Adam Cole gets disqualified. Gargano gets 1 fall. Adam Cole easily beats Gargano in the next fall, and then we're tied 1-1 apiece. I don't know, maybe, who knows. Then it comes down to that final fall. If it was Johnny Gargano versus Tommaso Ciampa, obviously I would say Gargano wins, because it's been the whole culmination of the story that Gargano defeats Tommaso Ciampa and becomes the NXT champion. But now that you have Adam Cole taking his place, it kind of adds this interesting dynamic. And since Tommaso Ciampa is not going to be there for like a year, maybe more, maybe he's never coming back, it provides an opening for this whole story where, like, Adam Cole says the Undisputed Era is going to be dripping in gold in 2019, meaning that we could see a scenario where now that Tommaso Ciampa's gone, stories have changed, and now Triple H is going to have this whole story of the Undisputed Era winning every championship. We could have Adam Cole as the NXT champion, Red Dragon of Undisputed Era as the tag team champions after they beat the War Raiders at some point down the line, and then we could have Roderick Strong as the North American champion. And we could play out that whole storyline of all of them winning gold, starting out here with Adam Cole winning the NXT championship. But I don't know. I don't know if Undisputed Era is supposed to be going to either Raw or SmackDown after WrestleMania, I mean, there's gonna be NXT call-ups after WrestleMania. Shayna Baszler's got to be one of them. Ricochet and Aleister Black are pretty much on there already. I don't know anybody. Pete Dunne is another one that I think could go up to either Raw or SmackDown or 205 Live. Oh God. Yeah, this is going to be a very interesting main event, but if I had to put a prediction on it, which I pretty much have to, it's what this whole video is about, I would have to say Johnny Gargano wins the NXT Championship here. He wins the NXT title, and then you can do a whole story with him and Adam Cole in the Undisputed Era, him defending the NXT Championship. Or if Adam Cole and the Undisputed Era go to Raw or SmackDown after WrestleMania, I'm sure that WWE and Triple H and NXT have no doubt they have an incredible story laid out for Johnny Gargano for his NXT Championship reign. But in terms of who's winning that 2 out of 3 falls match, I have to say it's Johnny Gargano. And if I would definitely recommend watching my NXT show where I got to see Johnny Gargano versus Adam Cole, just as a little preview of what's to come at NXT Takeover New York. It's going to be an awesome matchup. I had fun watching that show here at NXT Columbus. It was awesome, and I cannot wait for this awesome main event. Even though it was supposed to be Champa versus Gargano, I'm still going to be very excited to see Adam Cole versus Johnny Gargano, not only in a singles match, but in 2 out of 3 falls. That means it's going to be even better. So NXT TakeOver New York has a lot of very interesting, moving parts in terms of, the future of WWE on Raw and SmackDown, and the future of NXT now that Tommaso Ciampa's injured, and we have this vacant NXT Championship match for the main event. A lot of interesting stuff can happen. Like I said, we could have that ladder match stipulation added to the Women's Championship matchup. A lot of interesting things can happen at TakeOver New York. Who's going to show up in the crowd as the new signees? What could happen? What surprises could happen? I'm excited for it. What matchup are you looking forward to the most at TakeOver New York? Leave me your thoughts in the comment section below. Follow me on social media by using the links in the description here. I'll hopefully be live tweeting during TakeOver, and I'm very excited for this. WrestleMania weekend, it's going to be awesome. We're going to have TakeOver New York, and then we're going to have WrestleMania on Sunday, which is going to be 9 hours long. Good God, I am going to be tired after that. But what matchup are you looking forward to the most this WrestleMania weekend? Leave me your thoughts in the comment section below, and stick around here in a second so you guys can watch Adam Cole versus Johnny Gargano in my first NXT live event show. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys on the review show for TakeOver New York, Talking TakeOver.